In 2005, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith wasn't just a movie, it was an event. Fast food toys to cereal boxes to even a special item you got with the DVD release. Stick around because we are diving into some of the most random, coolest, weirdest movie merchandise items that came along with Revenge of the Sith you might have not thought about in years. Let's jump into it. Light up Saber Spoons that were found inside of Kellogg's branded cereals. Right here you see a box of Frosted Flakes. You got Yoda on the front cover. You even have Tony the Tiger here, man. You have Star Wars logo up here, Episode 3. And then on the back of the box, talking about collecting all three of these Saber Spoons. Again, a blue, a red, and a green. And you can kind of see this Obi-Wan versus Anakin duel on the back as well. So that was a big part of the promotional material. And what was really cool about this promotion is you also had it on different boxes. So like, for instance, you got Cocoa Pops right here. Again, this was a lot of different ones, different boxes. Ones had like Mace Windu on it, ones had Yoda on it, ones had Vader on it. So depending on the characters, I believe even the cornflakes, Kellogg's cornflakes, had Obi-Wan on it. So right here you can kind of see Darth Vader, which is a big part of the marketing push for Episode 3. But man, it was so cool to get these Saber Spoons. Again, one in every box, and they actually did light up really well and look really cool. So this was the one that I thought was really interesting to kick it off with. But wait till you see this next one. You're going to love this because it is the battle arena, man. And everybody knows about the big toy lines that came out in 2005 for Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. But I don't know if everybody remembers so much about the battle arenas. Right here, you had the Bodyguard versus Obi-Wan. You also had other ones like Anakin versus Count Dooku. You even had Sidious versus Mace Windu. So you had a few of these. These basically were what you think they are. They're battle arenas, and they look really, really cool. And they're just kind of a different kind of toy that came out during this time that they really kind of pushed. And the packaging was really interesting. It was almost like this closed, like I don't even know how to describe it, but you can kind of see it right here. It was just a different type of packaging than we're used to seeing. And again, I always thought it was cool. You can have this try-me side right here where you can have the battle spin. So again, think of it almost like a Beyblades, almost like a Rock'em Sock'em Robot type of thing a little bit with how the mechanic worked. But this was definitely something I wanted to talk about from the figure side, from the toy side. We got another one that we're going to be talking about too, so stay tuned because you really got to see these the rest of the way. We got a couple coming up that I think you're just going to love if you were big on the marketing push and this really cool merchandise from Star Wars Episode 3. So let's jump into the next one. And we have it right here, man. The M&M's promotion that came with Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. It was basically called the Empire, M for the M&M's on the M&M, or the M on the M&M's. Say that 25 times fast. Why would you say it that many times? I don't know. Let's keep it rolling. So basically you would join the Jedi. You could choose milk chocolate if you wanted to have the Jedi side. Dark side was that dark chocolate. And it was really cool to kind of see this promotion take place and kind of, choose your side. It even had that during the packaging, and you can kind of see the packaging right here. Right here you got the dark chocolate peanut M&Ms. Obviously, this is the dark side. And I just thought this was super cool. I love when they can have this different stuff on the packaging. Again, there's that Vader again. A big push in the marketing for this movie was the return of Vader. And you kind of see right here with the Darth mix, just looking really cool. So this was a really, really cool promotion, and one that was like a really big promotion to have this. You can kind of see right here, the Chocolate Empire. It actually even came with like figures and different things like that that I thought was really, really cool. And then it even had a commercial, which we're going to take a look at right now. So I moved myself out of the way a little bit so you can see this commercial again. You have Vader once again, big part of the marketing strategy here. And then you have the red and yellow M&M talking about the different M&Ms. So again, just really, really cool stuff. M&Ms, I wonder if you remember that. Let me know in the comments below if you remember these dark side and then light side M&Ms. I really want to hear from you. And the next one we have here is the Slurpee cups that came with the Darth Vader toppers. And these were really cool. These Slurpee cups here, again, you got Anakin, you got Yoda, you got Vader, you have the battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin here. And what was really cool about this is not only did it have different Slurpee cups, we got the Darth Do Slurpee, man. So just when you thought it couldn't get any cooler, they get the Darth Do Slurpee out here. And this was really awesome. This was something that I thought was a really cool promotion. I thought was a really cool item that came along with the hype for Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. And it was just cool to have this. You had the different 4 collectible cups, so there's something for collectors. And then there was also that item of like, a Darth Do Slurpee, like a fun tie-in food. and drink, and I thought that was awesome. You kind of see a little bit more of it here, with the different cups. So I just thought that was cool. Once again, I know I've been repeating it a lot, man, but you see how much they were pushing Vader in the marketing materials for all this stuff. And if you thought that they were pushing Vader for that, and you thought that this was a really cool flavor, the Darth Vader Slurpee to go with your Slurpee, which was only $1.99 for that collectible cup, then you got to see this next food item, man. Take a look at this. Yeah, we got the Lava Berry Explosion Pop-Tarts from Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. This is limited edition, man. This was limited edition. You kind of see how cool it is, man. You have the Jedi Challenge on the back. Show your mastery of the Force. Have the big characters. You got Yoda. You got Anakin. You got Mace. You got Aayla Secure. You got Obi-Wan. You got even Qui-Gon made an appearance here. And you can kind of see how they had the different things going through all this. This was branded for Episode 3, but you still had some different imagery from like Episode 2. You even had some Episode 1 stuff on here. But again, the limited edition Star Wars Pop-Tarts here, the Lava Berry Explosion. Man, I never got a chance to taste these before. Let me know in the comments below if these are really good. But I just thought that was a super cool promotion, an item that I think a lot of us had forgotten about. And plus, they have a website too. They used to have a website for the Star Wars Episode 3 with this Star Wars Lava Berry Explosion Pop-Tarts. You see it up here. You got the Galactic Gadgets. You got Epic Eats. You got Home. You got the Kellogg's, man. Big promotion with Kellogg's. You had this different stuff. And it says, experience the Lava Berry Explosion flavor with wild berry filling. And then it says, show your mastery of the Force. Take the Jedi Challenge. On the back of the package, again, limited edition, really cool box art, really cool food item if you're into the food item hype when a big movie comes out. And then we're going to take a look at something else if you're more on the collector side of things. But it comes from a food place. And these are ones that I definitely don't think you forgot about, but I definitely think you want to relive your nostalgia a little bit on it. And that is the Super D toys. You want to collect all 31 of these from Burger King, one toy in every kid's meal. This was a huge promotion for Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, especially considering that Burger King was able to have basically a checklist. You got 31 different ones you needed to find. 31 different ones. Think about how difficult that would have been. Now, I believe when this was happening, you could like buy the toys outright. But think about all the Burger King trips you're going to have to make, man, to finish this checklist. You can kind of see some of the ones. This is what the figures look like. Again, nothing crazy special. This is definitely nostalgic. This was so cool to get in your Burger King kids meal, though, especially when you're going through there anyway and you get it's just like we talked about with Burger King meals, Happy Meals, all these different things. To get these type of figures in the packaging is just really cool, and I always thought that was a really cool thing. And here's a lot of them here. You can kind of see what they look like. Again, nothing crazy, but just a really cool item, a really cool collectible that we got to collect as kids when we were getting hyped for Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, man. So, and just when you thought we've seen it all, man, Burger King Happy Meals, collectible spoons and Kellogg's cereals, different flavored foods and drinks, and even some toys and figures and collectibles. What else could there be? What else could we have maybe forgotten about? Well, there used to be these things called DVDs. And DVDs back in 2005, a home video release was a big deal. And it was such a big deal that you could even get a collectible watch to go with it. That's right. These collectible watches right here, and you have all the different ones right here. You can kind of see you have these collectible tins with the watches inside. You have, you have Han Solo. You got characters all over the place from the original trilogy. You even have some from Revenge of the Sith. You even have ones from Episode 1. You can kind of see right here with Maul and Padawan Obi. These were really cool. These were really cool. I love how these came in these collectible tins. And again, like I said, you could collect all 6 watches and tins to complete the saga. Again, this was still branded Star Wars Episode 3, but this coincided with the DVD release, which I thought was really cool. And you can kind of see in that left-hand corner, own it on DVD, only $1.99 each. So again, just to remind you, just in case, you all the nostalgia's coming back, those DVD releases, man, were a big deal. So it's kind of crazy, like now, in 2025, thinking about in 2005 that like a DVD release, because movies used to stay in theaters way longer. So getting a movie on home video was still a big thing, a big marketing push for that. And what a cool thing to have with the 6 watches and tins. Looking back at all the Revenge of the Sith merch from 2005, man, was so awesome. It just reminded me how epic the hype for that movie was and how big the movie merchandise push was for the movie. Because at the time, we really thought that this was going to be the last Star Wars movie we were going to get. And if you had any of these collectibles, or you tried any of the different foods or drinks, or if you still have them to this day, definitely let me know in the comments below. I definitely want to get a conversation going. I definitely want to hear from you and relive that hype from 2005. Obviously, there was some stuff I left out because there was so much movie merchandise that came out with this movie and even still continue to come out for this movie 20 years later. And if you love movie merchandise, collectibles, and just reliving that big movie blockbuster hype that comes with a big movie, then I definitely think you should hit that subscribe button so you can join in on the fun, and definitely hit that thumbs up button on your way out if you wouldn't mind. It would definitely help out the video. Thank you so much for watching. Check out some other content on the end screen after this, and I'll see you next time.